Emile Cilliers' trial. Army sergeant's wife who survived murder bid was a top parachutist. Mark Bayada told the court that Victoria Cilliers, 40, was a top-notch parachutist who had completed more than 2,600 jumps. Sergeant Emile Cilliers, 37, in the Royal Army Physical Training Corps, faces 2 charges of attempting to murder his exArmy officer wife, who suffered serious injuries in the incident on Salisbury Plain in Wiltshire. It is claimed Cilliers wanted to kill his wife because of his alleged affair with Stefanie Goller, who he met on dating app Tinder. As well as the attempted murder charges, South Africa-born Cilliers is also accused of a 3rd charge of damaging a gas valve at the couple's home in Amesbury, Wiltshire, a few days earlier, in a 2nd allegation that he attempted to kill his wife. Cilliers, of Aldershot, Hants, denies all 3 charges. It is alleged Cilliers was having an affair with Ms. Goller and had also rekindled a relationship with his ex-wife Carly. He would also have been the beneficiary of a £120,000 life insurance policy on the death of his wife, it has been claimed. Mr. Bayada, who has been chief instructor of the Army Parachute Association at Netheravin Airfield since 2013, gave evidence at Winchester Crown Court. He was present on Salisbury Plain in April 2015, when Mrs. Cilliers suffered a near-fatal fall of 4,000 feet as both her main and reserve parachutes failed. Claiming it was pure luck she survived, he said he rushed to the field after a colleague told him what had happened. The court heard Mr. Bayada ran out to where the parachutist had fallen with another colleague, who got to Mrs. Cilliers first and yelled, "She's not dead." He said one parachute line on the right side was still attached to Mrs. Cilliers' harness. He said there was one line attached. That was enough to make it a survivable landing. Without that, it would have been a fatal accident. Mrs. Cilliers suffered a broken pelvis, fractured vertebra, broken ribs and a broken collarbone. Mr. Bayada told the court 2 medics gave the badly injured woman first aid, while he arranged for an air ambulance. He said, "We used the reserve parachute as a screen for any dirt or stones that would inevitably fly around when the air ambulance did land near her." He said she was then put on a stretcher and taken to hospital. He suggested Mrs. Cilliers survived because of her small size and the surface of the field. He said, "She landed on a plowed field which was exceptionally soft, so I think both of those were in her favor." Mr. Bayada said that he noticed the lines from the main parachute were tangled and that 2 of the 4 slinks, which join the harness to the rigging lines, were missing from the reserve. The prosecution alleges that Cilliers tampered with the main parachute and sabotaged the reserve by removing 2 of the slinks. Mr. Bayada said he believed the main parachute had been sabotaged by wrapping the lines around each other within the parachute container. Mr. Bayada explained the procedure for preparing the kit for jumps. He said he found it highly unlikely a normal parachute correctly packed or a normal user error would result in a malfunction with that much entanglement. He added there was nothing to indicate any error on Vicky's part. He said that the slinks, 2 of which were found to be missing from Mrs. Cilliers' reserve parachute, were vital. The trial has heard that when Mrs. Cilliers was unable to jump on Easter Saturday because of poor weather, the defendant arranged to keep her higher parachute in her locker overnight until she was able to jump the next day. The prosecution claimed Cilliers did not want to return the kit to the store because he had already tampered with it. The trial continues.